as round one starts here in Vanguard Racing League. Everything is going to be underway very soon. All the cars are all lined up in the pit lane to start the quali soon. I am your commentator, Captain Foxy, and with me is David Cook. Say hello, David.
Hello there, welcome everybody to the Vanguard Racing League, and it is the opening round here in Austria. Luca will be your main commentator for this evening. I will be providing analysis whenever I can. It's very exciting to be with him in the commentary box, but Luca, we are about to start qualifying.
Yeah, and this being round one of the Vanguard Racing League, many things can start as, there we go, 20 minutes counter has started for the qualifying session, so every driver out now. And with the Formula Hybrids 2020 cars, which are the real life equivalent of the 2020 Formula 1 cars, well, this is going to be quite an interesting one, as Austria is a smaller track. So do you expect drivers to be really close to each other, or do you think they'll already start creating gaps at the beginning of qualifying?
Well, honestly, these cars generate a lot of dirty air. I remember speaking to somebody just a couple of days ago, and they were just saying, like, you know, it's very difficult to race these cars. They do produce a lot of dirty air, so no, you're going to need to create a gap with these cars. You're going to have to treat this like real-life Formula 1. It's not going to be possible to actually have a hot lap and follow behind. It's just not a viable option. So, like, you know, I'm looking here and Sarah is just on the back of a Red Bull here, and she's in the Renault car, but she's not giving that gap. So I don't know, let's see if she can give that gap in the final two corners. And there you go, she does back out of it there and then. So there you go, Luca, my prophecy comes into reality.
That could hurt her lap, though, as at the beginning, you really take those final couple corners quite fast, as they are sweeping right-handers. But, of course, qualifying just started, so this is just for some banker laps. The Red Bull of Mobs being the first one to start a lap at the very front of the grid. But some cars in front already coming up a bit later, being in front of the track. Mobs will be our first banker lap, so that Red Bull will be the one to have our eyes on. DRS works as normal after lap 1 second gap between each other, and you as the following car can open the S. So that is going to be an interesting one here in Austria, as that is quite the track where low downforce is really wanted for those straight line overtakes. And here we're going to probably see some interesting overtakes overall.
Absolutely. Austria is known to be a very tight and technical circuit. Your only real opportunities for overtaking are within the DRS zone. So you've got that one coming up into turn 1 from the start-finish line, and then into fake turn 2, into turn 3, and then into turn 4, that slight downhill. Those are the only real overtaking points. If you go anywhere beyond that, you are really trying your luck and risking contact there. So drivers are going to have to be very patient this time around and just take their time. Sarah, by the way, has gone top with a 105.452 there, and Elfani there 1.6 seconds behind on the C4s in second place with a 107. Sarah there just having a moment, but of course one thing we do need to say is Victor, and he kind of takes the words out of my mouth, disqualified for teleportation. You cannot teleport in this session.
Yeah, and as I was just seeing in Sector 3, Sarah was the first one to set a banker lap. Was supposed to be Mobs, but I saw it on camera here. He spun it out of the second final corner, and luckily spun it into the pit lane, but damage is on, and that was quite a hit there. Hopefully not going to happen in the race. That's just that downhill right-hander can just upset the car a little bit if you take the curb a little wrong. And Mobs just showed us what not to do in that second final corner. It just upset a little bit too much and sent it into the wall. But Krog takes position pole from Cyber with 104.8. But I'm pretty sure for the next 16 minutes we will see lap times going above the 103, so even 102s maybe if the S and Slipstream will be planned correctly. But yeah, this track is an interesting one, as turn 3 is quite a corner where traction is really struggles to get that on the rear tires, as so it showed us going up here, and once again the same thing has happened, losing the rear end going up the hill.
Yeah, you need to be careful with how you apply the throttle though. It's very easy to really try and look for something which isn't there. You know, you have to be very patient and you have to really trust the car. You kind of have to like get the car sorted out before you're even thinking about any throttle at all. And even then, you've just got to be very, very, very careful. It's a slow speed turn, and of course with that turbo and hybrid kicking in, like, you know, it really does spin your wheels. So you've got, like, you know, as Sarah's proven there time and time again, and as other drivers will, I am sure, as we see throughout the evening, we will surely, I don't think Sarah will be the first, nor will she be the last this evening to make that same error. Saiju, by the way, just goes up into 5th with a 106.5, I think that was, or maybe a 106.7. And of course, maybe one thing we should point out in this broadcast is, there you go, Saiju just having a bit of a moment with the McLaren in the background, losing it. Also, don't forget, these cars have the hybrid, so remember, after their hot lap, they have got to recharge. You can't really go for another flying lap, or else you just lose a bunch of time. There are several modes in the car that you can choose from. It goes all the way down to charging, and all the way up to hot lap, but of course, hot lap is when you're really trying the rear tyres, so I imagine drivers are going to be in the cockpit just going down a couple of modes when they approach turn 3, and then putting it all the way back up as soon as they're on that straight.
And also gotta have to remember that the allowed tires are from C4 to C2, C2 being the hardest compound, the hard compound of tires, C4 being the soft compound of tires, and of course C3 in between being the medium compound of tires. So for the 40 lap race, which will be after the qualifying session, we could maybe see the mediums coming into play for some strategy play, but also maybe the hard compounds for some longer stops. But that is going to be interesting with the power modes, with the engine and ES modes, the deployment modes there, if what tires could be used some more. But that is going to be an interesting one with the different components, of course, as we see in the top right. Wind 6 kilometers an hour towards north, so up the hill the wind will follow you, but then into the first corner you will basically be dragged by the wind into turn 3, I apologize for that, turn 3, where the wind will come in, a bit of affect you there, but also the final corners where you go against the wind going down the hill. So it is quite an important wind here to be thankful of, as that can upset cars with so much downforce and so much aerodynamic play that sometimes you really need to find a way to find that balance between performance but also stability, as Austria is just a track where stability is just needed, as a mistake can send you quite nearly into a wall or into a wall fully, and that is the two things that you need to watch out for not to do.
I just want to kind of say as well, for anybody that is new to this league racing in Assetto Corsa, first and foremost, thank you for choosing Vanguard to be your home of your first ever league race, and welcome, of course, to Sim Racing League Racing. If you're wondering why a Williams of Gonzalez is up in 4th place, that is because we do not have the same balance of performance that F1 does, or even budget of performance would be a better word for that. It is because simply these cars are meant to be equal. The liveries are just for show. It is all down to driver ability, so that is why you can see Haas and a Williams sharing 3rd and 4th position. Lamberson currently nearly 1 second away from the lead of Kroll, 1 second away from the pole time. Gonzalez 1.1, and he's just starting a flying lap in that Williams, and Sarah in the Renault in 5th there. Of course, Sarah in another league, the most successful driver on record. But at the moment now, Jenkins here just finishing his flying lap. He's gone fast in Sector 1, but it looks like Sector 2 is where he's lost time. A Spider all the way up into 3rd, but what about Leon Jenkins here? Comes across the line. That is 4th place. So 104.996. The times are getting closer as the session draws on.
With the balance of performance, there is an information on after the practice of a bit of balance performance was stated to drivers and not teams. I believe Andy Park is a driver who has been hit by a bit of a balance of performance with a few kilograms added onto his car. That was from the timing after practice to see, just to bring the grid a bit closer, as Andy Park has shown some great potential, and just wanting to bring the grid together, it was then put on him. But as I say it, he goes 2nd fastest, missing provisional pole by 2/1000 of a second.
I think that's 200ths of a second.
Pardon there. Pardon me there. 200ths of a second.
And he's just gone fastest in Sector 1. I don't know how he's done that because he's currently going to be recharging that hybrid. I'm going to keep an eye on this lap, so let's have a look. He's just approaching the second DRS zone right now. He's going down into turn 4, this long right-hander, and it's really looking hooked up. I don't think he's actually backed out. I think he's been a bit cheeky with the hybrid, saved some. Now he's coming into this middle section here in the track at only 900ths of a second down, and this is an insane lap from Andy Park. If he could get this done, this would be absolutely immaculate. Look at how he tests the track limits there, and here we go through the final corner. Here we go onto the start finish straight, DRS open. It's gonna be, oh my word.
He has broken the 103 timetable and has entered 103.711. Magnificent lap from Andy Park through there, and beautifully done as well, and impressive with the battery probably not being charged. But hold on a second, he is not done. 700s up in Sector 1 again, but this lap will definitely not be it. His battery is definitely suffering now, basically empty at this point, but he's taking everything out of those fuel loads and tires. He could be able, maybe, if he brings this one together, which is quite a stretch, as of course I think having hot lap delivery on for more than 2 laps does drain the battery quite a bit. There loses a bit too much in Sector 2, but oh no, into the gravel, and that is his lap over here. But 0.3 seconds up on Krog here. That is quite an impressive lap. The Mercedes not being able to improve too much to him, but that is an impressive provisional pole lap by Andy Park.
I was just keeping an eye there while you were on board with Andy Park. He was actually fastest in Sector 1. Then he was just slightly slower. He was up on his personal best in Sector 2, but lost all the time in Sector 3. So something in Sector 3 is where Andy Park gains all the time, and I don't think Sebastian Kroch there was actually utilising the track limits like Andy Park was. He was sort of half-hearting it on the right line, had half the car on the track and half the car on the other side, but Andy Park, you can see he was just touching the curb, all 4 wheels beyond the white line, even then through those final corners, and that's where Andy Park is gaining the time. It might be something so small, but in racing, everything that's small is so significant, and that is 3/10. That is the difference there in the driving style between the top 2. But when it gets down to the race, that won't matter as much, because remember, we'll have DRS. You have to be within 1 second of the car ahead to activate that. Of course, there'll be battery management as well, so it will just be a completely different dynamic, and as long as you're within 3/10 of the car ahead, I don't think you would count yourself out for the race win. So it's going to be a really interesting battle there between Park and Crow.
That is quite the battle. That is very interesting indeed. But with 7 minutes to go, qualifying is still very long to go, and of course, with every minute going down, the drivers do learn just a little bit more off the track, off the car, as I can tell myself, some new drivers having joined just a few minutes or even hours before the race here happened. So some have more practice than others, some have less, and the ones with less practice could still find some good temps for the quali lap here. But also we have to remember that qualifying is not the full pace here. Race pace is very important to keep together as well. Dave making noises. I believe something has happened.
Saiju there just got it all wrong. Going into the final couple of corners, he approached the left-hander, put all 4 wheels beyond the right line, lost the car, and actually drifted into the pit lane entry. It was rather impressive. He did hit the barrier on the way in. Don't think you caught that on the broadcast, but all the same, was quite a dramatic spin. But Saiju in the pits, and he'll be back underway. But McGravy there was disqualified for teleportation.
Yeah, that is one thing that has been said during the driver's briefing, that teleportation is disqualification worthy, but of course with 100% damage on the car, we don't know if it happened because the driver just had a mishap just pressing a button, or maybe a qualifying ending crash where the car just couldn't be brought further on. I had the issue not having life timing on. Now it is, so I can can keep an eye on drivers who are improving currently. One driver that is improving is Makapaka here in the Alfa Romeo, the car number 99, going through sector 2 now, turn 7 and 8, basically flat through here, and so he shows, and now towards the final couple corners, is up on his delta. Can he maybe improve on some positions? That is a good final couple corners, nearly cutting it there, very close to track limits, and the Park had a mistake, but where's Makapaka gonna put himself up into provisional 13th? That's something that I missed, was a crash by Andy Park.
So I just wanted to let you know, Sebastian Kroll there, again, was absolutely mega on his flying lap that he's just completed, but again, lost 4/10 in Sector 3. So whatever is going on in Sector 3, Sebastian is really struggling there for some reason. He's just parking it now on the Alpha track of Turn 3 just to allow a bunch of cars through. Alfa Romeo he's, however, not given the same sympathy to, but that's all said and gone. Tuki Gonzalez as well, making a mistake there in the middle of the track there, the twisty section where you don't really have an overtaking opportunity. He's back underway. Jenkins then makes a mistake at Turn 3. Bunch of mistakes coming in thick and fast there, and Jenkins just trying to get the car pointing the right way round. But at the moment now, few drivers on the flying lap, and yeah, no, it looks like it's going to be very interesting. Let me ask the question to you, Mr. Foxy. Who do you think is going to be out on pole? We are looking at a battle between Park and Crow. But do you think anybody outside the top two could get there?
That is quite an interesting question, as some names do come in from memory from other racing leagues as well, and Andy Park right now does take the cake for me currently, but not fully, as Saidu, Sarah, race by the, oh my god, makes a mistake there, as Saidu, Sarah, Craw, or even Gonzalez could still take that, as they are really close on pace, and with 4 minutes remaining, maybe for here in Austria, Andy Park currently is still taking it, but I am seeing the times just going up a little bit all across the board, and maybe when the track becoming greener and becoming more grippier, we could still see some improvements from all the drivers, Andy Park included as well. But to your question, I believe Andy Park still might take the cake for me, but just by a little bit, not by a huge amount, as some other drivers do still take have a spot in my book of records.
Yeah, no, of course. Don't blame you, really. There's Sarah will face over, which is yet to really be breaking where I thought she would be. At the moment, of course, it has been a while since I've seen her race last. Taking a bit of a break just for her own mental health is what she's told me. So, you know, she's just kind of, I think, going to use this round to just get back into the swing of things. She also didn't practice, so there is that to consider as well. And even then, no practice. Sarah has always produced results when least expected. So I don't think she's fully out of this yet. I think she could be using qualifying as a way to gauge things and see where things are before the race actually begins. I wouldn't count her out of anything either, but I think we're going to see more of her in the race rather than qualifying. But I think for me, I think Crow, I'll just go against the grain here. I think Crow is going to take pole, but not by a whole lot, as you said. But although Park does find a way of improving at the very last moment, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, as Lamberson has just got up to third place there with a 104.673.
Oh, I'm currently on board with Andy Park, and he's been showing a tremendous lap here, and incredible! 7/10 improvement in that lap, 103.1. Whoa, wow! Oh wow! That shook me here in the commentary booth, and I believe the driver seeing that might be also completely shocked. But oh, Sebastian Kroc pushed it too hard and slides into the pit lane, hoping to get another lap done. But oh, Sebastian Kroc was about to say, let me take that cake in that third sector, but did not manage. Gonzalez had also a mistake in that lap.
Well, I will say, I think it is no real question now. Park has got pole position. Crow, though, is going to try and start another flying lap, but there you go. It's just showing that Andy Park, he absolutely dominates proceedings usually whenever I see him on track in other leagues, and it's very much no different here. And you even said earlier on, Foxy, like, he has balance of performance applied, and it's not mattered at all. He's made the best out of a bad situation. And you know what? He's still king of the castle as far as we're concerned, so I don't really see this going any other way now. 8/10 is a lot to ask for. All that Sebastian can hope for is that he just finds some relative to at least bring him closer, because 8/10, that is a significant gap. And then if it remains like this, with how the Desier works, as Spider goes up into third there with a 104.654, as Sora is disqualified now for teleporting, she got herself up into 7th. 8/10 in qualifying, that's going to be hard to find. I think Andy Parker's got this one in the bag. So, yeah, there you go. Foxy, you were correct on that one.
Yes, I also heard before the race weekend that Mercedes could be taking a 1-2. Andy Parker's the one thing stopping the two of the pair of the Mercedes drivers to achieving that 1-2 that they were looking to maybe get us. That was a goal from them. Andy Park was just decided today, not today. I want to have that top spot here in Austria just to show my strength here in Vanguard, and of course this being the opener not only for the season but also the opener of Vanguard. This is a race that I'm really looking forward to, and also a good way to look forward towards the season, but also the full-on league. As we have to think, this is the first time Vanguard is hosting a race, and if it's going this way, I'm only seeing even better days for the future.
Tuki Gonzalez up to third there with a 104.610. I'm also keeping an eye on Sebastian down in Sector 2. That's been one of his strongest parts of the track, but can't make it work. Andy Park has found something special with that 103.169. Mobs made a mistake in his final flight lap as Crow, my word, trying to push it as hard as he can, but it invalidates his lap due to track limits, and that will be second place for the Mercedes driver. So while Mercedes wanted 1 and 2, they've only got 2nd and 4th. Gonzalez also separating them in 3rd place. Mobs finishing his lap. Makapaka is also another one on a lap, but they are already 1.1 seconds down on their best. So I don't expect any improvement from the Alfa Romeo driver. But there you go. Park on pole position, Crow in 2nd, Gonzalez in 3rd. What a qualifying that was.
That was incredible. Andy Park absolutely destroying the competition here for round 1. And, well, I was expecting this to be a little bit, and he was expected too, with that balance of performance put on him, knowing that he has the pace. He still said, look at me, I am still pretty much where I wanted to be, and it's gonna give us probably a good race. As of course, very good performance. He might be fast lap time wise, but if he has that extra weight put on his car, he might be suffering on the straight line speeds or maybe in acceleration points if he gets in a battle. And this is gonna be interesting, as that could still give a good chunk of racing for the midfield, but this is going to be a race that I'm really looking forward to, and with a qualifying session like this one, it can only be a good one. Safety car has joined us during qualifying, so we will have a safety car for the race. If anything happens, a safety car can be called, and for 40 laps, this will be around 1 hour and 10 minutes of a race. But with the pit stops coming in as well, this could be a bit of a long race for a track like Austria. So it's going to be an interesting one to be looking forward to, Dave.
Absolutely. A long race. So we are going to be looking at strategy calls now. So, of course, as Luca has already specified, we're going from the C2s to the C4s, of course, the C3 in between. Now, what drivers are going to be... Here's how the strategy, I would say, would work out. I think it's going to depend on, obviously, what you prefer. Do you want to get the hards out the way and just go longer and then go shorter at the end? If I was in their shoes, right, I always get the harder compounds out the way. So I would say run a C4 or a C3 on the first run. get those out the way, and then run a soft towards the end. So try and one-stop it, and that's what I expect to see. Of course, we don't have any refueling either. So that won't be a factor in things. It will just be whatever is on the tyres. Or then again, maybe there is a rule against that. I'm not sure. Maybe you could shed some light on that.
There is currently issues. It has been put back into qualifying. The session has restarted for a reason that I am unknowns to me. Hopefully this will be fixed soon, but this can set everything upside down. I'm sorry if I missed your question there. If you feel free to ask it again. I'm just looking for the session here. This is a big concern for the drivers as well.
No question. All I was kind of saying is that I was talking about tyre strategy, and I was just saying, like, you know, it's going to depend on the driver. If I was in their shoes right now and looking to prepare my strategy, I always go and get the hards out the way. So I'd be on the C4s or C3s, on the start of my race, right? And then as soon as it like approaches 25 laps, if I can make the tyres last, I would just go for the last 15 laps on those C2s. But my question to you was, there was a question, so I do apologise. I was lying to you. Is there any refueling?
Refueling is not in this race. Formula Car that's banned for the round here. But with the point of qualify with tyres, that's a good point. As some drivers do want to have the softer tires out of the way first, just to have a bit of a jump on the whole grid and get a bit further away. But the point staying, getting the harder compound out. Oh dear me! Dear me! Gonzalez upside down has. Oh.
And disqualified for teleportation.
That's for qualifying session here. I believe we have a second qualifying. But with the tire compounds, you do want to have the soft compounds used on qualify. What is going on across the board? Oh dear.
Oh. Oh no. This is becoming Wreckfest all of a sudden. I'm not
confusion
sure.
is pouring out on track, one after another. Will there be another qualifying session? I'm now confused myself.
So I'm trying to figure something out. I've been keeping an eye on everything. At the moment, Spider is currently looking in. There are some issues. I'm checking Formula Chat. Chicky Gonzalez is talking about how the car got flipped. But yeah, no, I'll keep an eye on the announcements. You just keep an eye on the action as it comes on, and then if I have anything for you, I will update you. Server will be getting restarted, actually, as soon as I say that. That is from Sebastian.
That is good information, as that just... I'm at a loss of words. That just took me out, and I think I lost my thought of train as well on what I was saying. Believe I was on tire compounds. Yeah, hard compound tires. If you have a good strategy and a good setup on the car, hard compound of tires, getting them out away first is also a good plan. But you need to have your thought process ready to be in more battles at the beginning of the race. Just to think that you'll be on a harder, slower compounds. It's interesting to see.
Sorry about that.
We've got Ryan in chat.
Sorry about that. We're currently fixing the grid manually, and then there will be a server up in about 3 minutes. The race distance will also be reduced to 30 laps.
Thank you.
Understood.
Thank
you. All right. Good information for the commentary booth here. As you heard, that was Ray Spider, the owner, talking us through on what's happening. 30 laps, and that could, and now back to tires, that could switch everything up. 30 laps. The hard compounds of tires could be not that as interesting anymore. There could be maybe soft mediums or medium soft, C3 to C2 or C2 to C3. So Dave, you said you're the type of driver to go rather C3 to C2. Do you believe the rest of the grid thinks that way? Do you think we'll have more C2 to C3?
Absolutely not. If I've learned anything watching you on F124, I know that you like being on the softs first in most occasions, and you want to go onto those mediums on the last possible bit. You are more the undercut kind of driver, and that just kind of attests to, like, you know, some of the leagues, some of the drivers here will want that undercut, so they'll go on the C2s first, and then get the softs out the way, and then try and undercut to go longer on the mediums. So what they're trying to do is reduce the time in the pit lane. Get the time on the pit lane out the way first. Sorry there. Get that out the way, and then try and gain the time back on track. But some will want to go longer to then gain the time back and attack on the final stint. Now, that only works for a certain amount of drivers. You've got to really keep your car under control. You can't really overheat the soft tyres as well. Like, each strategy has their own disadvantage. It's about what your driving style suits. So, are you able to save your tyres? Well, then you would want to go longer, and then you want to go on the softs. Or do you use your tyres quite a bit? Well, then you want to get the softs out the way, and then try and go on the mediums, go for the undercut, gain the time back with fresher tyres. So, it's going to heavily depend on who you are. And I don't really know who's going to do what. So it's going to be interesting to see how that strategy plays out and see how that all goes up. We have Right back in the chat. Hello.
Yes. Hello. Please rejoin the server. The grid is manually set.
Thank you very much.
Already on it.
Alright, well, we just got the information there from Ray, our race director, this evening. The server has been restarted, and the grid has been set manually from qualifying. So we are going to be a few moments away from lights out. Remember, we do not have the 40-lap restriction anymore, as I will need to teleport to pits. So somebody might want to... Well, I will try and remind myself of that.
I was gonna tell you I have my auto start system on.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, hang on. You know what? I can fix this in a jiffy. You know what? You do some waffle like you're best at, and then we'll take it from there.
Alrighty, so drivers are currently getting in track temperature 11 degrees air, 21 degrees surface. So, and a big change as well, 14 kilometers an hour wind. This changed that to 4 kilometers an hour wind towards north, but I believe that's not quite it, unless it changed immediately. So it is, no, the track change temperatures just changed with that reset. It is 11 degrees at 20 degrees surface temperatures. That's practically perfect temperatures across the board, as that is good for the soft tires here. But of course, that may help with strategy, but the medium tires or the hard combinator tires could have a little bit more struggle with temperatures, but once those temperatures set in, that could help. Also, only 4 kilometers an hour wind north, that could help up the hill, so lap time could change just a little bit here, just for a few tenths highest, maybe 1/10 with it. Drivers are still joining in, so let me take you down the grid here. As far as my son drivers are in, it is Andy Park taking that pole position with the Alfa Romeo number 7, that is old Kimi Räikkönen's number. Then Crow with his own personal number 9 car in the Mercedes. Ray Spider is up in 4th. There we go. Gonzalez in the Williams 63 in 3rd. Then 25, second custom number for the driver is Ray Spider. Then it's Lamberson here in the Haas P5. Pardon me, another restart. Lamberson in P5. Then Mobs in P6. In P7 it's Jiglov, and in P8 Jenkins. Sometimes we haven't still mentioned in the race. Then Sarah, Saidu and Bakke in 11th. Then it's Fenger in 12th and Macapaka in 13th. Alfani is 50th. Currently there's a grid car missing there. And in 16th it's McGarvey. And I believe there is still some cars to join in, as the car number 4, position 14, still has not accommodated us here for the race start. Hopefully that driver coming in soon. If not, that grid will be free, and it will be a bit tough to miss out on. Safety car is out behind as well. Hopefully no safety car action this race, but if needed, a safety car can come out on track. Tire compound so far, C3s for pretty much a top 3, C2s for Ray, Spider and Mercedes, and back with C3s till P7, and then P8, P9 and C2 soft tires. Then Sarah, so on the side, and it's side you in P10. Pardon me, there's something coming in.
Are you guys both in?
We are in.
Okay.
I am
awesome.
sorting something out. Don't worry.
Okay. Sorry about this.
Oh, there's problems.
Enjoy the race.
Well, hopefully you two in the race director both. Thanks, David, for getting my attention there.
No problem at all. Let's see. I'm just trying to find the actual server again. Oh, here we are. No, it's all right. Don't worry. You just focus on what you're doing. Do what you do best.
Time. The lights are out.
I do.
2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights, and 6 lights. Eyes on Andy Park. As it's go here in Austria, and there's a good start from Andy Park. Crow got a bit of rear spin for that, and Gonzalez already on his outside, and the Mercedes need to look for that inside line, and Andy Park pushing a little bit Crow for that. A car goes off on the outside, that's a McLaren off. Andy Park loses the lead here, but is already attacking for the lead position on the outside. Crow defends that inside line for now, and the Williams already having a look. And Andy Park nearly have to take the escape road there, and the Williams nearly losing the end. Behind, we see some names falling off. Jenkins losing positions, and Sarah as well dropped down a few position there. Gonzalez loses position 2, Spider, but they're side by side, and Spider goes onto the gravel out of turn 4. Losing out the traction to Gonzalez. I know Jiggloff behind defending from Saidu and Lamberson. But it's on the inside of Spider. And Spider's dropping down places. Not having a good start at all.
And of course, the dirty air will be into effect there as well. We can see Spider there is also vulnerable to the Renault of... Is that Saiju? Yes, it is Saiju. And he is up into 5th position there. Spider is got damage, so he's coming into the pits. He'll have to get his strategy out the way now. Hard tyres for him. Oh, into the wall goes Saiju. He'll come into the pits, and that's 3 wide in the exit off the final turn. DRS isn't able to lap 2, but I think Saiju will be coming in for repairs. But we have a battle for the lead there, Luca. Let's cut to that and see what's going on. Luca, you've got it.
Here we go on the inside defense of Mercedes. Andy Park goes on the outside, and now there's Cypress on the exit. Who gets a better traction here? Both on the C3 tire. DRS for none of the drivers. They were side by side on the line, so no one gets it. But now towards the inside goes Andy Park, looking to maybe get a move down there. Careful, leaves a space. Mercedes and does not enough. Park goes through for now, but the Mercedes will have DRS for the next couple of straights. Will he be helpful to get it back? Andy Park does have the pace, but does he manage to keep that pace up on the Mercedes? In the back we see still some position changes. Mobs and Red Bull got the position on Lamberson's Haas. Goes up into P4, and also behind Norris and Jiggloff, still fighting Jiggloff side by side with its teammates. The 2 Alpha Tauris going side by side through turn 8. Incredible. But now up in front, will the DS help the Mercedes?
Let's see this going into turn 1 now. Crow there, like I said before, it's a completely different thing. By the way, I just want to let you know, hopefully it's just a graphical glitch, but pit window open 26 laps. I hope that is just a graphical glitch, because that would mean it opens on the final lap, so everybody would have to come into the pits on the final lap. I really do hope that is just a graphical glitch, and that's actually nothing to be taken seriously. But otherwise, this will spell absolute disaster for everybody, because that means their tyres will have to go up until lap 29, and it will be a sprint race finish, as we see Ryan Alfani getting 3 seconds for DRS. Sarah there in the wall in the Renault, so she'll have to pit for damage, I would assume. But it's not been a good start there for Sarah or Saiju there equally. But Crow and Park giving us an entertaining battle in the top 2. But otherwise, there's also battle with Saiju and Bach. I hope I'm saying his name correctly. I do apologise if that is mispronunciated. Please do let me know through a DM if anything's wrong. Whoa! Right there with the victor in the Ferrari.
Yeah, and I believe you have misread the pit window open. That means it's open for the next 25 laps. It closes before the final lap, so that is hopefully not an issue for the drivers. Ooh. But there was a position switch between Jiggloff and Norris. There, Jiggloff goes up in the P9. But also, I believe that... Oh, also, yeah, Crow is up in the lead again with the DS help. It did happen. Pardon me for missing that out. I was looking for midfield battles there. but Andy Park now needs to gain it back, but it's here on Repo Ring. It's well, whoever follows has the advantage just on how strong that DRS is on this car. As before the new wind, the airflow cars of 2022, the DRS was pretty strong on these cars, and we might see some good battles on the straights here. But looking at gaps, it does look so far that the gaps are starting to increase a little bit between the drivers. Closest battles we have so far is just a few seconds and 2 tenths between Becker and Fenger, but it looks to be Fenger has made a little bit of a mistake there. 3-second penalty for Saidi for using the DRS incorrectly. And that will probably be a bit of anger in his car, in that cockpit, maybe a bit of fumes coming out. But it's rule states, if you are outside of the 1DS and if real penalty does tell you to not use it, it's better to not use it, I believe.
Well, here we go. We're just seeing a battle reignite for the league between Park and Crow, even, as Gonzalez is also getting involved. Saiju has had a moment out of turn 3 as well. He drops down the order from 6th to 9th, so that means Barker has got 6th place spot for how long? Because it's Fenger on the inside here, and he takes away the inside line from the Ferrari, but the Haas gets it wrong on the exit, so that means it instantly comes right back to him. But there is a very entertaining battles up and down the field, and this has been excellent so far. Oh, AlphaTauri there, Saiju gaining back a position from his sprint, but oh, Luca, that's all gone wrong.
Oh yeah, that is out of turn 7. Oh, disconnect. Saidi has disconnected from the race and accepts this DNF from the race. He still had so much to go. I believe that is a bit of an early retirement from a driver. This in a race like this, would you expect a retirement happening this early on by mistakes? I would it's still a kind of an early race. Hopefully not going further on in the season. But sad to see the first drive. We already lost another. McGarvey was gone as well. The McLaren has disconnected as well, I believe, having issues, not connection there. So 2 DNFs already happening, 14 cars still out on track, and many battles still to go.
I just want to say as well, I'm keeping an eye on the top 3 as well. Spider and Jiglov, they're swapping positions for 9th position. But to bring attention to the top 3, while Crow and Bark have been battling for the lead, it's brought Gonzalez into the mix here. He's just been quietly getting on with this race and just being consistent. I imagine he is saving those tyres. And he is just currently just biding his time and waiting for these 2 up ahead to use them and just maybe take advantage in terms of tyre wear. But battle there in the final 2 corners. Fenger up to 6th place there. Well, looked like he went beyond track limits, but he was okay in the end. But now he's going to be vulnerable to the Ferrari in turn 1, but that Ferrari not even opening DRS there, so he won't be able to. Oh, but he makes a mistake out of turn 1.
As that was happening, Andy Park had a good run into turn 3, and this time a good run into turn 4. Is he gonna take it? That front wing was alongside the rear tire, but Andy Park did not take that. More Macapaka gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I believe the pit window is starting to open up for some of the drivers. The second driver, I believe, having taken a pit stop here. Maybe a drive-through as well, but that is a sad penalty we have to take there. I believe another car going in the pit lane is Sarah, but this one is for also retirement here, but retiring in the pit lane after a sad race like this. But maybe it's just to change their strategy and go onto a different compound. We will see. Does not look like a leaf to me, so that her race will still go on.
Tuki Gonzalez there with all that battling was faster than these 2 up ahead on the previous lap. He's brought that gap down from 2 seconds to 1.8. But of course, with the fact now that there's a bit of space between these 2 cars as they're approaching a lap car of Macapaka there. At the moment now as they're going side by side into turn 4. Andy Park way more alongside this time around. Oh, there's contact between those 2. Park and Crow. Drama in round 1. Park is spun round, and he is now gone from the lead of the race down to 4th place. And there's Lamberson as well, looking to take advantage of that, but not close enough. But now that rear of the car is looking lively. There is damage to the back of that car. Luca, he is going to have a hard time for the rest of the race.
Yeah, Andy Park, I saw the moment of contact between the Mercedes and the Alfa Romeo, and Andy Park had gotten the worst end of the stick here, but Crow might not come out unscathed, as Gonzalez, the Williams, still has all that pace in that car. He could take it. Lamberson, fastest lap of the race with that help of slipstream from Andy Park. Now it's Andy Park's job to get all that time back, but it will definitely be harder, as with that spin, flat spots could be more vulnerable on the tires, but temperatures could still also be off the charts after a spin like that. So Andy Park really needs to find a way to get back into the rhythm, but find positions as well. Fine, he makes a mistake out the final corner. It's in the wall. Lost it there, hopefully not too much, spins it back around, but that is a huge moment in this race. The lead of the race, that battle, now gone to the spot of Crow's name, but Gonzalez, I have to say, he lost a second in the last lap, if I'm being honest. So 3.5 seconds now to Crow. That is a bit of a bigger gap than expected after an incident of our leading car.
Couple of things to note there. Spider, of course, with a mistake there, down to 8th, and I think it was Fenger who also had a mistake there. He's down to 10th. Norris going up into 9th place there. But yeah, Gonzalez has lost 1 second there to the leading car of Crow, and Park is now trying to catch back up. He's got 3/10 within the DRS of Mobs here in 3rd. Mobs there just deciding if he wants to visit his alien overlords or not, but now down the inside is the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo has to get onto that sausage curb, unsettles the car, but Park keeps it under control despite there being a visible struggle with the rear end damage that he's suffered with that contact, which was at this corner on the last lap. The Red Bull closes the door, and now there's damage to the front of the car, potentially more contact with another car there, and I think the dirty air, if I'm being honest with you, is making drivers desperate. It is always better to make a move sooner rather than later, because it's these corners, as there's a driver in the background off there. I think that was Lamberson. It indeed was, because now he's dropping back dramatically from these two, but now Park is trying to find different lines. Look at that, beyond the white line there, you can see how the understeer is in the car there, and he needs to get this move done sooner rather than later. Here we go though, round the outside into one. Can Paul make that work? He does, so there you go, he's now in clean air, and there you go, that's the Red Bull there, and you see that effect of the dirty air when it's reversed.
I believe Andy Park, after that incident from the lead, his head might not be in the right space anymore. He just wants to gain as much time back, and wow, that was a big mistake into turn 3 there again. He just lost the rear, probably locked it up a little, and then just lost it through the entirety of the corner, slid through there, and that lost some time to Mobs after the Red Bull gave the position into turn 1, not wanting to go too defensive. As we saw in turn 4, contact can happen if two drivers really want to stay for one position, and Andy Park's goal is now to just gain back his time to his rivals up in front. 4.4 seconds. With damage on the car front and rear, as you said yourself. That is an interesting one. Oh, Norris round turn 3. And also a bit of walled contact there. So that front wing might not be in the greatest conditions. But there's the pit window. It's getting closer here. This can be an interesting battle, as Andy Park could use that time to repair. So I believe that repaired that times aren't that high as compared to real life Formula 1. So we could maybe see a Park manage to repair some, if not all of his car in that pit stop. But the more important question is everybody going to take as much time on those C3s, on the drivers who are on the C3s, to then switch on to the C2s? Or maybe do they think to go safe and also switch to the hard compounds? As I believe the C2 drivers are more thinking to here use the soft compounds, as they are on the hardest ones. So right now the two compounds that have been used are the C3s, the mediums, and the C2s, the hards. and the drivers who have the softs for the softs in their window is the C2 drivers. The C3 drivers might have to look for way. Oh dearie me! Out of turn 6 is a Ferrari of Victor Beck into the wall. Big incident, and there's a full course yellow. First one of the race, full course yellow. Every driver wants that. Oh, there was a rejoin there by Buck, nearly taking Sarah there with him. But now, full course yellow, steep speed limit of 80 km an hour. Everyone who is above that gets this penalty, and Charlie Lamberson was one of them. Takes second penalty, full course yellow, for disobeying the full course yellow.
Back there, I think had just made his way through lap traffic and then got just a bit desperate with his right foot there. So he just must have overheated those tyres behind. Just again, that dirty air effect just catching back out. And unfortunately for him, now has damage, but luckily under a full course yellow situation, not going to lose as much time. Of course, it's up to the race director when of these drivers decide to go, but everybody making their way into the pit lane, Sarah included as well. Sarah will be disappointed with her return. 1 lap down on the leaders. It's not the return she would have wanted, and she would have needed a safety car, but full course yellow just eliminates everybody to 80 miles an hour, or 80 kilometers an hour. It's one of the two. And now drivers are just going to take it easy. They're just going to wait for the race director to call things. I think I would have liked... I think we saw Park pitting. I'm not too sure, though. He is 26 seconds back. And there you go. We are well, we will be underway in a few seconds' time. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we are going to be racing again. Green flag. And Bob Norris there. 10-second penalty for full course yellow speeding. So got a bit desperate there on his right foot there. But anyway, he will now have to serve that at the end of the race. Norris currently in the pit lane in 10th place. 5-second penalty as well for speeding in the pit lane. So becoming a bit of a nightmare. A couple of laps for the driver there. But now he will, resume proceedings, I would say, in about 11th or 12th place. But now Sebastian Crow has only extended that lead out. It's become 5 seconds to the front. So I don't really see any chance of him catching up, but now Park, who I do believe has pitted for hard tyres as we approach the halfway point in the race, he is now a man on a mission.
Andy Park, you said it, might have pitted. He did pit. He's now on the C2 tyres, a hard compound of tyres, after having started on the medium compound. So Andy Park took that time in the pit lane, took that time full course out to take the pit stop, and it is immaculate. He was 4 seconds down on Gonzalez, and now with Mobs in between, he's only 12 seconds down to Gonzalez, so it only lost him about 8 seconds. As a pit stop, you would usually lose you a good amount of time, about 18 to 20 seconds. So it basically minimized his time to 10 seconds. And if my math is correctly, if the top 3 drivers pit, Andy Park has a realistic chance on fighting back for that lead here in Austria. Now it's just a question: when are the top drivers gonna go for that pit stop? As I see now here, Andy Park has pit 1 lap ago. That is under full course yellow. The top 3 drivers, on the other hand, have not. They're the only drivers who haven't pitted now that I see the times. Yes, the top 3 drivers are the only ones not having taken a stop yet. And that is huge. That's actually really huge in compared to the others. Andy Park not only has a stop under his belt, fresher tires as well. No damage as well. That's his raw pace coming out now. And in qualifying, he showed us how much of pace he has. And well, once those hard compounds get that temperature and got into the rhythm, and he goes into the rhythm, all drivers in front, we need to find a plan to go through, as it could change the whole game plan here.
Absolutely. The top 3, of course, still needing to stop. Andy Park, I do believe, is doing the undercut strategy. So he pitted, of course, as Luca has already said, 1 lap ago on the full course yellow conditions. The top 3 yet to comply with that instruction, so they'll be losing time. But then as soon as I say that, Gonzalez into the pit lane now, so he will relinquish position to Andy Park. I just need to check the gaps for... as I think I have left the session.
Mistake!
So, Ollie Mobs with a mistake there. Go ahead, Luca.
Mistake, but that was it. Ollie Mobs makes a mistake and drops. Now, that's Park there, nearly into P3, and Park 2 free positions here now, or 1 free position after Gonzalez's pit stop. But his mob's gonna make it easy for him. Lambertson, mistake as well, out this first corner on the grass on the inside. He needs to find a way out soon. He's not moving yet. This could be maybe a cause for another focus or even safety car. Lambertson isn't moving. That is a dangerous spot. But now, focus yellow. Who will get the position before it ends? Side by side, the Red Bull is on the inside. Andy Park stops now. And the Red Bull is up in front. And oh dearie me, these two, we have nearly done a battle under the focus yellow. But mobs need to slow down now. The gap between them wasn't that far. But Crow, shock and surprise here, can take this focus yellow for himself. There he goes, stopping. And Andy Park's, well, that's his whole plan again out the window, as Crow has immaculate luck, but also that is beautifully planned as well for that pit stop. But of course you cannot plan focus yellow, so that went directly into his hands after it went into the hands of Andy Park. The Haas is still parked on the inside there, so we hopefully it's not a big issue. Hopefully, if it's a setup issue, real life wheel disconnect, the control disconnect, that the driver manages to connect it fast soon, because that is not a safe spot to park in.
I just want to say that it did look like he was spinning his rear wheels just before you cut to him. And it doesn't look like that car is going to be moving. Park again in the pits though, Luca. That's a very interesting call. I would love to see what tyre he's on, but there you go. Lambertson gets the car underway now. And oh, I can see why he was struggling to get the car underway. It was crabbing. Like there was no tomorrow. And he is definitely struggling with some sort of suspension damage there. No surprise, it was a hard impact into the wall. And now he's in the gravel trap. I think this is going to be the end of his race. I don't see any way he can continue. But at the moment now, I'm just going to say the field is absolutely spread out now. So 54 seconds to Crow there. Now Mob's taking that pit stop. It looks like Park will have to settle for second place with the time remaining here. So there you go, disconnect, and there you go, we have confirmation, Lambertson there, disqualification for disconnecting. He was not able to get the car back into the pits, and racing will get back underway, Luca.
Yeah, and Andy Park, that's on the rear end of nearly the Red Bull there, and 2 seconds, and Andy Park might have a bad side, yes, he's still in the corner, so Mobs, good run out of the corner there. Crow, beautiful strategy as well. But I believe Park took that stop to go back onto the softer compound of tires. And the gap will be around 20 seconds after all the focus slow down. The gap could go back. Spider and Jenkins fighting for P5, going a back marker. No, that's not a back marker, that's P4. That's Gonzalez's freeway battle for P4. Is on this outside of Spider. Is he gonna keep it banging? Wheels on the exit. The Mercedes is still on the inside, but oh, the Williams closes the door quite aggressively to keep the position in front. Spider in the middle of the AlphaTauri and the Williams. AlphaTauri behind as well, wanting to make a move here. There's a second AlphaTauri behind, but that's not full position. That is a back Marcus just staying in with them. But Siren, the Red Bull Renault as well. But oh, the AlphaTauri nearly losing it. This is Sarah's battle, I believe, here. 4P11. Siren now on the inside. Gets her position up into P11. 1 position shy of points. Now this is corner in front. But let's get back onto the freeway battle here between the Williams, the Mercedes, and the AlphaTauri. But Andy Park also struggling with the Red Bull. I believe these are the noises Dave is doing into turn 3. So tell us.
Yeah, so Andy Park there, deep on the brakes, a rare sign of desperation from the Alfa Romeo. Just locked his brakes, missed the apex entirely. Mobs luckily saw it coming, gave him the space, and that means that Andy Park has to do everything yet again, and this is only losing time to the car in front. 21 seconds. Now that the full course yellow has been sorted out, as, oh, well, Gonzalez there with a mistake there, Luca. I'll cut back to that.
Yeah, that is a freeway battle between Williams. He is struggling. Those rear tires are definitely out of the window already. But Spider and Jenkins, the gap is slightly improving there for the Mercedes. Jenkins and the AlphaTauri is more looking behind as Sarah, not a slow driver at all, looking to get her unlapped from the group here. She manages she could have a shot to close it into Norris, who is still on the straight, just ahead. But Andy Park's battle now is the one that is still going hot after that full course yellow. Andy Park looking to get as many positions as possible after the mistake. So if he gets that Red Bull here, he's going to back where he was after after basically turn 1. Please respect the blue flag, says the race direction. So there is some blue flags happening out on track, which aren't getting respected enough to in the liking of the race direction. That is going to have to be told nice, slightly harsh on for the drivers here. But Andy Park could have a look here into the second of a corner, but he did have a bit of space there given by the Red Bull, but the Red Bull then decided to either not give it. But now, from now on, the DRS battle will begin. First one on the main straight. Andy Park follows behind, still a bit too far behind to make a move stick. Andy Park has to look to get a good exit out of turn 1. Here we go. Now between turn 1 and 3. Turn 2 being the slight kink left-hander here. He is gaining a little bit more time on the Red Bull. The Red Bull had a good exit there. Now towards turn 3. Later on the brakes. Oh, nearly missing the braking point. Where's Andy Park there? Looking to maybe get a better shot. Missed that planned from Andy Park. Or do you think he missed the braking point there?
Missed the braking point, did the exact same thing last lap, and then went deep yet again, and that really only ruined his momentum. By the way, just something you missed off broadcast, I was keeping an eye on Jiggleoff and Vega were in a battle, and Jiggleoff just got desperate on that exit of turn 3 there, where it goes uphill, and it's very bumpy. It happened to Jiggleoff this time around, so a lot of drivers are still being caught out, despite us being 21 out of 30 laps into the race. Of course, all pit stops have been completed, so we're not worrying about strategy anymore, as we do see somebody into the pits there. I can't quite catch who that is. It's one of the AlphaTauris, I think. In fact, that is Jiggleoff now, so I think the damage was just too great there to continue. But we will go on to, well, lap 21 out of 30 for second and third. Andy Park with the DRS again. Is he going to make that same mistake? Let's see what he does. Does he try the inside or the outside? Looks like the Red Bull's got that covered for the time being. Oh, nearly into the back again, Luca.
Yeah, Andy Park really does not like that turn 3 at all. Missing it now 3 out of 3 times in the last 3 laps. Andy Park really is getting tunnel vision into that, I believe is what's happening. Just going nearly into the Red Bull this time. This could have been fatal if he didn't avoid it just in time. But while this battle is going on, Crow managed to get the fastest lap of the race, and I believe with no DRS, a 106.21, so a Red Bull mistake onto the gravel, losing huge amount of momentum. After a mistake by Andy Park, are they going to go side by side to the second final corner? This is incredible. This is not an overtaking opportunity here. But Andy Park backs out just behind the entry there, and oh, that Red Bull really making it tough for Andy Park to get past. But now onto the main straight we go one more time for lap 22. DRS open for Andy Park in that Alfa Romeo. Turn 1. Doesn't manage to get a better run this time. He is closer than ever on that Red Bull. But Andy Park knows that turn 3 is a struggle here. Lose a bit of time down the straight with a little lag into it. At this time, managed to get the break point. So this is how the corner is supposed to be taken for the good time for that Alfa Romeo. And does gain a little bit on time with Red Bull, but the Red Bull had a good corner exit out there and manages to stay in front one more time. But there's a battle going on behind as well.
Whoa!
Gee, wow.
Oh, Norris there with an interesting rejoin, but Spider there with a 5-second penalty. He can't really fight this. If he needs to, though, he would need to extend the gap here, and he's only got 8 laps to do that. And Sarah here, who is a backmarker in 10th place, backs out of it, but that will be a distraction to the Mercedes. And there's the AlphaTauri into the gravel, and really he could allow Sarah through now and not lose as much time. But Jenkins now losing even more time. Spider has got 4th all confirmed now. That 5-second penalty won't matter. It's 7.1 seconds now. Park and Mobs still resuming that battle. Park was faster there by a 10th. He was a 106.9 there. So Park now is on the charge. Wants to get this second place. It won't be a win for him, but can he get it into this corner? Oh, he goes late on the brakes. Mobs has to give him the space. He does, but Mobs now is going to be on the comeback on the DRS. Let's see how this plays out. But oh, giving it straight back. I don't know what he was thinking there, as Jiggleoff is disqualified for disconnection.
I Wow, that was a crazy 2 laps here with the battle between the Mercedes of Spider and Jenkins. But wow, Andy Park there really was was having a look into turn 3, and I believe it was sportsmanship playing part there, saying, yeah, I did quite a ascent for you and you had to avoid me, have the position back for a cleaner battle. And Andy Park, I believe, has given up to chase that P1, but P2 isn't as easy anymore as he hoped for, as Mobs had taken the same strategy he did after the second full course yellow, pitting for that medium compound of tires. Well, a compound of tires that we haven't seen yet, which might not show what show is a soft compound. But Sarah, fast up at the race, 105.5 in first 105 of the race. So now that the fuel loads are getting lighter, the cars are getting faster, and Andy Park again deep into turn 3.
That one was deliberate, though. He actually kind of hooked the corner together there. He used the outside line purposefully and actually used it like how NASCAR drivers use that outside line in an oval. That was completely different there. That was done with intent there. So actually Andy Park there being a bit smart, and I just wonder if he was scouting that out over the past couple of laps to try and see how he could gain an exit on the Red Bull. It didn't work effectively there and then, but also Park could have been saving battery. I do think he is scouting Mobs out these final few laps and just saying, where is he weaker? Where can I catch him out? And he's really experimenting there. And I think turn 3 is where the move is going to be done. He has four tenths at the moment to the Red Bull driver in front. He's going to use DRS to just close that gap down a bit, and he's the closest he's ever been into turn 1. Won't try it there. Not nearly into the back of the Red Bull. That's going to hurt his momentum out of turn 1. Let's see what he can do through here with the DRS. He's about to make a move, maybe? I don't think so. But, Luca, here we go into turn 3.
That is a bit of a big gap there, but Andy Park this time taking more of the inside line. That outside line that he scoured might not have worked after getting it correctly. I believe he understood that might not be it. Mobs just having to keep us calm here. 5 laps to go for the pair. If Mobs keeps us cool, he could have a look to keep Andy Park just behind. Andy Park is having his own issues right now, just still finding the car. I believe he didn't repair his damage now that I think about it. This could be struggle still with the car after those incidents he had. But the bigger worry is Andy Park is running out of options here. Each corner, the Red Bull of Mobs is not showing him any opportunity. And I believe this is showing on Andy Park's driving. He's now not knowing anymore where to take that time. But now, this is closer than ever on the main straight here. With the DRS, he could maybe have a look on the second straight. If he gets it correctly, onto the curb they go. Take as much road as you can. And this is the time. Andy Park takes it beautifully. Better than the Red Bull of Mobs did. And now, up the hill we go towards turn 3. Will Andy Park have a look? He moves the car a little bit, but doesn't take it. Mobs makes a mistake, goes a bit deeper. Ruins his exit for turn 3. The Alfa Romeo of Andy Park gets a good exit down here, but it's just not enough, as I believe it's on now more battery usage from the Red Bull there. But whoa, that is the Alfa Romeo going a bit wider through the turn 4 there. But now this is closer than ever. He's looking for the inside. He puts his car on the inside, but doesn't want to make it side by side through here. He knows it's a bit dangerous if they make a mistake through there. But now through turn 7 and 8 we go, and the Alfa Romeo is just staying behind. This is closer than ever. If he makes you get these corners perfectly and just makes you stick to the Red Bull, this could be finally the chance with his DS. That's a good exit out that corner. The Alfa Romeo has a good shot. He's getting closer, but he lives and lets it go for this time. And Dave, what do you think?
I think the Red Bull here is actually saving the battery, so he's getting into that middle section of the track, which isn't covered by a DRS zone, and he's honestly saving the battery for when he has to use it down these straights. You see that even though the Alfa Romeo has DRS, you'll see it again here. The rear wing opens, but again, that Red Bull just seems to be slightly faster. But here we go, as soon as I say that, Park to the inside for second place. Can the Red Bull hold on? He will try the cutback, and I think that might work, because they're going to go side by side again on the exit of turn 5, and Mobs gets that second place back, but for how long? It will be outside versus inside, and Park gets the move done beautifully, and that was some great driving from the Alfa Romeo, choosing the point. And I wonder if actually that was Park saving and I just had things the wrong way round. But now we will have to defend for the Red Bull, and look at that, the dirty air proving to be rather costly for the Red Bull driver, and I think Mobs will now have to settle for third place. So there you go. I think Park there saving his battery and then deploying it when the time was right, but Mob's still close here, Luca.
Yeah, that is interesting. Andy Park made a beautiful move. Mobs tried to respond at this and responds beautifully. It's incredible straight lane speed from the Red Bull. Takes the position before the corner starts, and Andy Park is back where he started. Defensive goes to Red Bull on the exit on the right hand side now. A bit of weaving happening for the exit. Andy Park 3-second penalty for using the S when he wasn't allowed to. Pardon me for that. But that is incredible. Mobs back up into P2. And Andy Park gets a 3-second penalty. But this is a great observation, because I believe what's happening is the Red Bull. Oh dear. The Red Bull has less downforce than the Alfa Romeo, and that just made explain all that top speed. Just once he was in a dirt yet, that low downforce really came in crashing, and that was his mistake through the final couple corners. But this is his trump card for the battle here, as that is keeping Andy Park behind. But now, second to final corner, there's something happening on track, and Dave.
Well, you just kind of seeing it come into frame now. The Alfa Romeo there of Makapaka was getting it all sorts of wrong there and nearly crashed into the hearse of whoever that is. And look, no, this is not what his teammate wants. Andy Park needs to give it the space. He's not given the space. He's forced off track. And that is a communication breakdown, because now with 2 laps to go, if you include this one, what is the Alfa Romeo's playing at? This is not what Park wants. It has been an absolutely miserable race. It's 1.4 seconds. The team communication here absolutely breaking down. This is a disaster for the Park here. Oh my word. And Makapaka will have some answering to do to the Alfa Romeo team boss at the end of this, and to Andy Park, in all honesty, because now as we move on to the final lap, it's over a second, and Park can't use that DRS now. He's got to wait till the second zone, which I believe is going to be after turn 1, but 9/10 of a second. Will we see Park send it into turn 3? I'll let Luca talk this final lap through and bring it home.
Oh dear, in the back, that was Makapaka making a mistake again, but Andy Park, that's exactly does one into the final lap now. And this is too big of a gap. That is now the one advantage Andy Park had on the Red Bull was the DS, and now that he's out of it, that low downforce helps him. But I'm sorry, there's a mistake between all huge incident, but I'm switching to the Mercedes. Sebastian Crow. Oh dear, what is happening? What is happening? The Mercedes out the final corner crashes to win. Hold on. He's stopping to cross the line to win. The line is still up in front. Not has he won yet. To win in Austria here in Vanguard. And dearie me, that was a huge incident between Sarah and Spider. I believe there's other drivers also involved there. And incredible all over. Crow managed to get it. Mobs. Oh, wait, there's still much time. Andy Park has a shot. Full course center was gone. Who gets the better run? The Red Bull Major get a good run into the second final corner. And the Red Bull goes in front. Does he manage to keep it? Park, not close enough. The Red Bull goes to cross the line to get second. Andy Park to get third. And that was immaculate by the pair of them.
There are, let's see, unfortunately, some chosen words here in Discord. I mean, I think we absolutely enjoyed that. Jenkins comes home in the Alpha Tauri to bring it home in 4th. Gonzalez, whoa! Brings it home. Gonzalez in 5th place as I absolutely cowered in fear with Gonzalez and Alfa Romeo going around the final corner. Jesus wept.
Notification.
But yeah, Spider will now come home in 6th place. Well, just a lot of penalties going around here. But Sarah as well DNF'd after that incident with Ray. But yeah, yeah, a lot of words. were exchanged there.
I'm getting a note here that Andy Park might have gotten that second place. We have missed a 10-second penalty from Mobs here, from Ollie Mobs.
Oh.
So Andy Park, if nothing goes in the steering room afterwards, could take that second place. Currently is in provisional second, but that's still much to be talked about. Now the battle gets heated in the steering room. Sadly, outside our viewing. So this was incredible opener for Vanguard's Racing League here. VRL round 1 in Austria. Still a lot rounds to VRT. Pardon me. Did I say Racing League? I mean,
yes, you did.
Pardon me. I mean VRT here. This is still lots to go around, and if this is round 1, well, Dave, I have to say the next rounds are pretty much open for everyone.
I would say so myself. Of course, Andy Park being, well, I mean, there's some words here being exchanged here. I won't go into the too much detail because I don't want to take away what has been an absolute underdog effort from Ray Spider. It's Ray Spider's league, and of course, we haven't gone through the background of his league, I don't think in the broadcast just yet, but I just want to say it was started by a couple of friends beforehand in GT3 races, but started real growth once Alex Mux actually did Ray Spider's Milsim qualification, and the owner of the team saw that they were playing Assetto Corsa afterwards. From there, they created an open wheeler division, part of the team that's been expanding ever since. This league was born from Ray's love of the Mercedes W11, which of course he drove in today's race, and he wanted to race against people who were not AI. And you know what? It's been an underdog effort, and there are going to be things to sort out. It's a first time for everything, and things happen, and I think Ray can hold his head high because he did an absolutely fantastic job in getting everything on together. And actually, speaking of the devil, look who's arrived.
Sorry, I was going to say, you guys have permissions to move people for interviews if you want.
Well, that is
okay, obviously that's going to be up to them. I'd rather get their consent to do that, but if you can create a waiting room or something.
Oh, there is a waiting room. Oh, you guys can't see it, sorry.
Can't see it, I'm afraid.
That's completely my fault. I was wondering why everyone just sat there. There you go.
Oh, there we are.
Wow.
Luca, I'll let you do the dragging. You are the lead on this one.
Alrighty, thanks, Ray Spider. We are now going to the interviews. If hopefully we'll have you there as well. But of course, the first driver that we have to take up in here will be Sebastian Crow, our race winner in the Mercedes number 9 car, pardon me. And I hope he has something to tell us. Hello, Sebastian Crow. Okay, are you here with us?
Yeah, hello. How are you?
We are fantastic, and you are a race winner here in round 1. Tell us some insights on how this race went for you.
Yeah, it started off fighting a bit with Andy. I don't know if you guys saw that, probably did. He got ballast, so I was actually able to compete with him at that point. And then I think he just desynced once into turn 4, and he just kind of got sent off. And after that, I kind of just drove my own race, pumping in laps, staying consistent. I got a full course yellow that I could pit, so I got quite lucky. And yeah, that's kind of the story of my race, just driving consistent laps in cleaner.
That was with Andy Park. I believe David got that. He saw what has happened. He thought contact has happened between you. You say a desync on your screen. Did you have a collision with Andy Park in turn 4?
No, I was actually surprised by how far away I was, and it still happened. I have some footage I can give to the stewards as well, if necessary.
That is interesting. So, after that Andy Park battle, how was the car feeling now that when you were out of the battle? Were you struggling, or were you just confidently driving NP1?
Honestly, I'm very confident with the car and the setup right now, so I was just driving consistently, pretty clean. I made, of course, those small errors here and there, but I never made any major errors. I just kept going, pushing. So yeah, it was good. I didn't have any distractions, so I could just stay focused.
And with the setup, was it more of a low or high downforce setup for Austria here?
I have very much a high downforce setup.
Interesting.
Pretty much maxed out.
David?
Yes, I did just want to actually talk about your strategy for just for a hot second, because obviously there was going to be 40 laps, but then of course it was reduced to 30 to make sure we could still finish on time. But I did just want to ask, what was it looking like on tyres? What do you prefer to do? Do you prefer to go on the harder compounds first, or get the softs out the way first?
In general, from my earlier league racing times, I like to do the harder first and go to the soft. But due to this race being shorter, I thought, let's just start on the C3, which is the middle, which would have been the softer in this race, and just see what happens. I'm starting on the front row, so I want the pace early on. Then I saw the tire wear was actually quite low, and I had clean air. So I thought, okay, I'll just pit slightly later than expected and maybe do the C4s. But then the full course yellow came out at like lap 13 or something. It was slightly too long for the C4s in my opinion, so I just pit for the C2s. And they worked very well after that.
And in terms of qualifying as well, you were about 8 tenths behind Andy Park, but in the race, you really kept it with him until, of course, the moment that I think it was, of course, with the contact there. I will just add on to the incident as well that I didn't kind of elaborate on in the broadcast. There was a significant gap between you two, so I will say that I don't think anyone's done anything wrong. It was just one of those things with online racing where there was a bit of a desync, as you've already stated, and then unfortunately, there was just contact, and Park was the unfortunate victim. But after that, I would just like to ask, what would you think of that if Park is battling with you like that for the rest of the season?
Oh, I think that would be really fun. I was really sad when I saw he just got bumped and then some spin around. I was actually quite disappointed because it seemed like it could be a fun battle through the race and, strategy and everything. But yeah, it happens. It's unfortunate. I hope we can keep fighting. He got ballast after qualifying because how quick he is. So that definitely helped me to be able to keep up with him early on. And then I also think in qualifying on my end, I didn't optimize it as well as I could. I definitely had like 4 or 5 turns in what I had done as well.
All right, well, that's all from me. I just want to say again, from me and Luca, congratulations on your win, and, have a very good evening.
Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a good evening as well.
I wanted to ask one last thing that just came to mind. Last lap, last corner, was that on purpose?
No, a bit of a funny story. So I was trying to get the fastest lap at the end, so I just put the hot lap mode and pushed like a madman. And then in the last quarter, I was like focusing so hard, and then the full course yellow got put out as I was entering the apex. It just threw me off, and I spun.
We were about to change onto your camera.
So hard, like in this mode.
We were about to change onto your camera, going to celebrate your win, and the next thing T-Cam saw was the wall, and that was quite a surprise. As into the last lap, many things went wrong for many drivers, and the last thing we expected was you to also have issues. But at the end of the day, you can see that as a bit of a celebration, as even with a spin, you got that P1 comfortably, 40 seconds out of mobs. Penalties were an issue for you, right?
I don't think I got a single penalty. No track limits, no speedings.
Then
so it was good, yeah.
Well, the man for this weekend is you, and I believe driver of the day is Dave, I have to say. It has to go to you, Crow. It just was an impeccable race with you and Andy Park as well, how you kept it cool. You gave spectacular driving, and for me, you take the driver of the day. I don't know if David is the same opinion, but it goes to him.
Very much so. Very much is the same opinion.
Yeah. So, Crow, enjoy the evening, this Friday night here. You are the man. You are the man who took the checkered flag first, so you deserved it fully. Enjoy your night.
Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy it as well.
We very much did. All right. So that was Sebastian Crow. Next driver to join us, I have to go at least for the top 3, and next one joining us will be Ollie Mobs. Hopefully he wasn't in another conversation. He is currently live streaming his screen. Ollie Mobs, hello. Sorry if we were interrupting something. P2 provisional so far. How did the race go for you?
Very well actually, other than the lap 1 incident.
After,
I'd
pardon me?
I got someone behind us locked up, and I got front and rear yellow wings for the whole race, which was fun.
Oh dear, I see. Okay, I mean, obviously we're not going to ask any names here, but I think we just missed that on broadcast. We did see a car veer off into the off track, but unfortunately I wasn't actually in the session at that point, so I couldn't.
I think that
actually
would
see
be
what
me.
happened. That would have been you. Okay, that makes sense. But anyway, despite all of that, right, you actually made it work. Got into second place. Of course, we're on a provisional second place as it stands right now. But like, you know, when that battle came with Andy Park, I just kind of I do have a question, and it was about your ERS deployment with your battery.
Yep.
Were you actually saving in the middle sector and then deploying it on the straights, or have I got that completely wrong?
Sort of. It was over the space of around 2 laps. I was building it up from getting down to about 40%, then building it back up to about 80. Just in case I was making a mistake anywhere and he would get through me so that I could get back by him on the straights. I did that lap 27 or 8, I think.
That would make sense then, because it did seem like Park had a really good run on you. I think it was on lap 27, and then on lap 28 you came right back at him in the next ERS zone out of turn 1, and it just looked like you two were playing an ERS game with each other, and it was absolutely fun to watch. We had an absolutely great time in the commentary box. It was just that chess match that we enjoy as commentators, and we love figuring that out. So like, you know, it was great entertainment, but I don't think you expected to be fighting with Park, because obviously there was contact with him between him and Crow, of course, our eventual race winner. And just kind of thinking that then, did you actually expect to be on the podium this evening?
Not at all. After qualifying, I had a mistake on my final lap while about 4/10 up. Then the crash on lap 1, I was 8th, managed to get back up to about 4th, which was where I was expecting to stay, but managed to claw it back in the end somehow.
Luca, I'll hand this over to you now.
Well, many questions already answered, but, well, you are driving beautifully tonight. You had, sadly, after turn 1, a bit of an issue, and with now hearing that you had damage, you drove spectacularly well. And with Andy Park, was he giving you a lot of issues, or was your battle with Andy Park more just trying to keep concentrating on keeping the car on track? Or, well, when you're banning Andy Park, my question is more, were you focusing more on Andy or more on keeping the car facing the right way?
It's a mix of trying to not let him get inside of my head, because once you start making mistakes, that's when they keep on going. So it's just a case of once you've done it, you have to have a mental sort of reset. But with focusing on it, it's kind of inevitable that you're going to be focusing on cars around you. But the car wasn't too bad with the damage overall. It was still quite balanced somehow.
Yes, then, so it was more, you were more focusing on staying there, but Andy Park was giving you issues. Did you know that with his balance of performance that sadly only Andy Park had from his practice? Were you expecting your car to be handling a little better than his?
I knew that you had some sort of ballast. I'm not really sure how heavy it was, though.
I believe 20 to 30 kilograms. The correct numbers I might not have, but about 20 kilograms heavier for his time. But that did show in the battle that his car was struggling a little bit on corner exit. But with your setup, were you running higher downforce? As we understood, Crow was basically full on wings. Were you following him?
I was somewhere in the middle, I'd say. I think I had 19 front wing, and then somewhere in the middle on the rear.
So you were not going full downforce. You had a bit of lower in the rear. That I believe might not have any parks on, but that is different from Crow. Could you believe if you had full rear wing, your car would have handled differently?
It's a kind of preference sort of thing. I think it would benefit some people, but other people like me, I think less so. I think the lower aero did definitely pay off with how much I was able to catch Andy when I needed to.
yeah, so your setup was more fitted to you, and that it showed that in the race you were more comfortable in with Andy Park's damage. We don't have to forget he had damage as well. With his damage and your comfortableness with the setup, it was the upper hand at that point. Hopefully you will keep that P2, but we understood that you have a 10-second penalty still under your name, so this is still a provision right now. Let's see what the stewards in the end of the race have to say. But congratulations for your provisional P2 so far, and I believe a podium will be under your name either way. So congratulations on that, and have a fantastic evening to you as well.
You too.
Congratulations on the second, Dolly. We'll see you next week.
Cheers. Hopefully.
Take the time for a break.
Yes.
Well, we have 2 more drivers, Ray Spider and Dave. Do you know who called this?
That is Tuki Gonzalez, I believe.
Alright, so before we get Ray Spider in here, let's have Tuki Gonzalez. Hello, Tuki. I believe it's you here in the commentary commentary booth. Question more for the race. You finished in P5 overall. Just about 10 seconds behind Jenkins. Were you expecting to finish in P5, or were you expecting higher or lower?
But to be honest, after the qualifying, I was expecting to finish higher, but I think my race was going well until some of the full course yellows came along, and it was badly timed because first one I had just passed the pit lane. The same for the second one. The second one actually I had just pit before, so it was just bad timing, and everyone seemed to have gotten a jump on me there. I think once I got out of the pits, I was like P4. But then I made a silly mistake where I just looked away for a moment. I drove onto the grass and replicated a Bottas, cutting grass, and that set me back. But I mean, managed to crawl back to P5. It's not bad.
Were you having struggles along the race, or were your mistakes that happened just a one-time thing?
It was probably just a one-time thing, just the unlucky full course yellows, and then that I was having at least recently I've been having some downshift problems with my wheel. So sometimes my wheel just won't downshift, or sometimes it will just like downshift 3 times in short succession. So I need to get that fixed as well. But I mean, other than that, I think my pace definitely got better. It was the first time I touched the car. Literally 10 minutes before the race, I literally jumped off. Actually, I think my first laps were in qualifying. So, I mean, get some more practice in. I think I can definitely be quick.
So, I mean, with having no practice, you had a spectacular. Getting still P5 in a grid like this one is still very much impressive, and hopefully for next race, the issues that you had after with, well, not only the after focus issues, but also the downshift issues will be resolved, as I could see you up in the contention with the other drivers for a good podium battle after what Andy Park, Mobs and Crow's battle. There is still room for many more people, and I can see you there as well. David, do you have some questions?
Yeah, I just kind of want to ask about, the fact that, when Andy Park and Sebastian were battling in the early laps, you were, just in there. You were within that 2-second bubble. Unfortunately, there was just that spin that cost you. So, what would you take away from this round going into the next one? I mean, apart from maybe a few obvious things to do with strategy and maybe fuel, in terms of driving the car, what have you learnt from this week?
I think I learned that you can probably drive the car on rails. The car seems to just stick to the ground; it's glued there. So, to be honest, I think for the next few tracks, it's definitely going to be just the fact of just being familiar with the track and how the car drives. But I think I can definitely have the pace to at least compete with the top guys, especially with such little amount of practice. And probably I'd also say just getting a setup. Because I just randomly just grabbed one and I just hoped for the best. But yeah, it seemed to work. It's just I need to get used to the braking, because I think still sometimes I was braking a bit too early. But yeah, other than that, I think I definitely could have finished P2, especially with Andy's spin. That could have put me right up there. But yeah, it was just a series of unfortunate events.
Fair enough. That's really all I had for you, Tuki.
That
Yeah, no problem.
was
Yeah.
have a fantastic weekend. Sadly, with that mistake, getting you sadly out of the podium fight. But P5 is so good, so I enjoy it, celebrate it, and we will see you next week for next week's round. The kind of has been shown. So let's just make sure that I say the round correctly. Next week being. That is quite here they were Silverstone, that is it. Next week being Silverstone, hopefully seeing you there, hopefully in a better spot and also more comfortable, as the braking is interesting once you figure it out. But that was from us. Enjoy your evening and see you next week, hopefully.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So last one to join us will be Ray Spider, also the server owner. So some different questions asked to him as well. So Ray Spider, man
Hello.
of the server and P6 finisher. So how was your race?
Horrible, to be frank.
Oh, horrible.
I had all, you saw like the stuff going on with the server to begin with and stuff, had all that on my mind, right? So I was really distracted on the race start, actually jump started, which was funny. During the race, I actually didn't go bad. I made some good moves, managed to get back into P4, although had a few like really tight moments and some contact which was really dodgy, I'm not gonna lie. But it was good until the final lap where my dreams got crushed.
Yeah, with that, I have to go more specific. In that final lap, I saw your name went red in that turn 1 incident. Can you elaborate further what has happened there?
I can. So there was 2 lapped cars who had crashed into each other on the straight. You know, the second DRS one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the one how it's somehow a turn, even though it's not actually a turn.
Turn 2.
Anyway, yeah. So there are 2 crash cars there. One was off track, another was on track. But I assumed he was going to hold his brakes. So I start going up anyway, keep in mind. And then he started rolling just as I started, like, passing him.
Oof.
So then I clipped him and got slammed into the wall and had suspension damage. So, yeah, had trouble bringing the car back to the finish line even at that point. So I'm surprised I managed to finish. I was so close to just disconnecting.
Yeah, well, the good thing that you managed with P6 still being a good spot after this many cars started the race. 12, I believe 11 finished the race here. P6 is still pretty strong, but your teammate getting the win, are you proud of? Are you proud for him? Is there going to be team champagne popping tonight?
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I'm actually really glad he won because it kind of like overshadows my horrible race, but yeah, I was in VC with him and he was doing really well. I think the thing is, he himself says this. He says he doesn't have like the pace of some people, he just has the consistency. Because, I'm sure you saw, there were many incidents on track, but because he managed to stay out of that, he drove. But his skill itself is really impressive.
Well,
Yeah.
consistency being half the battle is where racing is at. You can be the fastest car on times, but if the consistency isn't there, well, you have nowhere to use it. And Crow showed us how to bring it together, but your race, we have to say, we did see you managing to cling it back into P4. Sadly, we saw your mistake that brought you down the grid again. But now that we heard that you managed to bring the car back, even after a massive crash, it's still really good to see that you managed to bring it into P6. I believe Sarah was the one driver who sadly DNF'd out of that last lap incident. David?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I just kind of want to know what happened on that last lap, really, with the incident with Sarah. Are you able to take us through it, or did it just kind of happen out of nowhere?
So from what I saw, so of course at this point Sarah was lapped, right? And I think it was also a driver called Makapaka. They were both lapped. And I think just going down the straight, I didn't see this part, but I assumed they made contact because both of them were spun round, of course. Sarah was off track, so I think she probably got hit more than me and was probably fed up at that point. And Makapaka in the middle of the track, of course, just not holding his brakes, or well, holding them until the last moment. But
Right. I see.
yeah,
Yeah,
of course, the stewards are definitely going to look into it after the race, though.
All right, then. Yeah, no, obviously we'll see what happens with the stewards. from there. But otherwise, thank you for explaining that side of things. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Thank you so much for the interview today.
Thank you.
And
Can I
thank
just
you
say-
so much for putting this on as well. I should say
Oh,
that for free.
thank you. Can I just say thank you to you guys as well for your help and being able to bear with some of the first league racing errors that went on, might I say. I really appreciate all the support, and hopefully next race will run way smoother than this one.
From our
We look
spot,
forward to it.
I mean, from our spot, it went pretty cleanly, and we enjoyed it thoroughly. I can say from my side, it was really fun to watch and to commentate over, and also the battles that were given here. The issues were pretty much overshadowed by all the good racing and basically all the good stuff that happened. The bad was easily overshadowed, in my opinion. But of course, first race of the league, as we said before as well, before this being round one, not only for the season but of Vanguard race. VRT, so I mean, we are looking forward to better days. As if this is how it starts, well, we are very much excited to see how it will go on.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Well, last thing I have to say is enjoy your evening, and we will see you next week in Silverstone.
Silverstone. Yeah. See you next week. Thank you.
No, thank you for this one.
Thank
We
you.
have to thank you.
Oh,
Good
thanks. Good night.
And
night.
to the viewers watching, I was a commentator, Captain Foxy, and with me was David Cook. And for today, this was our round one weekend here in Austria, and we are. I will be there for next week. I might not be so sure with you, David, but I will be there for next week.
We'll have to see what happens. I'll check my schedule, see if I can make it. But if not, you're more than capable of taking it single-handedly. I will do my best, though, to be here. But you're in more than capable hands with Luca. But just from myself, as we sign off, as I always say at the end of anything, from wherever you may be in the world, we wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive. We will see you next week at around 8 p.m. GMT, and we look forward to your company then. Luca, you may sign off the stream. I will see you in a bit.
Good night.